Hey, Cal Ewing here, freezing my butt off in Calgary, Canada. It is January and winter's finally come. But I'm going to talk about US note investing, something maybe a little bit warmer for many people in the US. I wish I could go back. But anyways, I want to talk about looking at the borrower's history when you're buying a mortgage note, whether it's a performing note or a non-performing, especially a non-performing mortgage note. When you're talking to the seller of that note, you want to make sure that you're getting the servicing notes and the borrower's payment history. Okay, so you can figure out what are the borrower's habits. Do they pay on time every time? Do they consistently pay late? Do they, pay in chunks and then they don't pay for a month or two and then pay a chunk again? But the other important thing, and this is something I learned this week or encountered this week, is you really want to get the story from the note servicer or the lender or note holder that's selling the note. Usually if you're buying a note, there's going to be a servicing company involved that was servicing that mortgage. And if you can talk to them and get the story, the borrower's story for that particular note, it can be very helpful. So here's an example. I'm looking at a note right now in Iowa, and the borrower has kind of spotty payment history. So he'll pay, like $1,000, and then he'll wait a couple months, and then he won't pay anything, and then he'll pay another $1,000 or $2,000, get it current again. And so it's sometimes you're like, well, what do I make of this? Is this a risky buy? Like, is he gonna eventually default? Is he struggling financially? Are we gonna have to foreclose this thing eventually? But when I talked to the servicing company, they said that, well, no, this guy's been consistently doing this, but what he does is, sorry if my feet are loud on the snow, but what he does is he's a storm chaser. So he has a regular job as a contractor, but then whenever there's a big hurricane or a big storm, he'll go and chase that storm, go to that place where there was damage, and then he'll work as a contractor and he'll work really hard and make extra money, and then he'll come back and pay big chunks down on his mortgage, okay, and get himself caught up again. And he does it consistently. That's kind of just the way he lives his life and the way he earns his money. And so he waits for the next big storm, makes a pile of cash, and then he goes back to making less cash. So knowing that and knowing that that's his track record, I know what to expect when I'm buying that note. And based on that story, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a borrower history where it's not paying every single month like clockwork. I'm okay with someone that's got a plan, he knows what he's doing, and he's got a track record of doing that for multiple years to showing that it's been working. So if you're buying notes, try to talk with the servicing company and get their story, get the borrower's story, and try to see if you can figure out what is going on, especially if they're not making their payments on time. If they're making their payments every month on time, then you don't really need to know anymore, right? But more if it's a non-performing note where there's patchy payment history, talk to the servicing company and see if you can figure out why.